Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. Today I will be building 3 Adirondack chairs for the 4th of July. So stay tuned and we'll get into the details. For this build I started off with some treated lumber. I let this wood dry out for a couple weeks before starting this project to make sure it wasn't too rough on my blades. I am using Kingsfine woodworking plans, and from those plans I am using 2x12s, 2x6s, and a couple 2x4s. I'll link his channel in the description if you are interested in this unique design. Here we are just planing each side to get a clean surface before templating each piece. To make my life easier, I went ahead and bought his templates that he sells on his website. These templates will allow me to batch out 3 chairs, ensuring that each piece is identical. Before moving on to the router table, we broke each piece into smaller sections on the miter saw. For me, it's really easy to get ahead of myself and move on to the next step before finishing one. So for this project, I focused on taking it step by step, knowing that it's the most efficient way. Using my bandsaw, I carefully crept up on my line. It's important to leave about a 1/16 to an 1/8 of an inch for the flush trim bit to take off. This was by far the most time-consuming process so far in this build, but after about 3 hours we had all the template pieces that needed cut and could move on to cutting seat slats. For these pieces I didn't worry about cutting them to their final length. I just ripped them to 1.5 inches and set them aside for later. I've started using a new camera to film my videos, and after sifting through the footage, it was crazy to see how much didn't make the final cut. I need to work on having a better idea of what the video will look like, and then focus on the short, quality shots. For this next part of the build, I am using a top bearing template bit from X Woodworking Tools. For under $90, this is one of the best templating bits I've used. It cut right through this wood and left a clean and smooth finish. As you can see, it's important to leave as little of material to cut away. I have no doubt that this bit can handle more, but it's important to not push the bit, or any blade for that matter, to ensure that it lasts longer and doesn't bite at the wood. If you don't already have a bit like this in your shop, be sure to check out the links below in the description to get one for yourself. If you haven't used the spiral bit for flush trimming and are still using straight cut bits, this will blow your mind. Once I switched, I couldn't go back and would never go back. Another important note when using large bits like this is to be mindful of the RPM of the router. The bigger the bit, the slower the speed. We all know that bits like this can be a little daunting when using. I've been using router bits for over 3 years and I still get nervous sometimes. Just always remember to take your time, have everything set up, and run through the cut in your head beforehand, and you will be just fine. To finish off this cut, I switched over to a 1/2 inch bottom bearing compression spiral flush trim bit. These two router bits pair perfectly with each other. In the past, I've used this one to make the entire cut and would run the template along the bearing. I've learned that it's easier and more efficient to make 2 passes with 2 separate bits. Just like the other one, this router bit had no troubles cutting through this wood and left a smooth and clean finish. I'll also link this router bit from X Woodworking Tools in the description below. You might have noticed my neighbor Lance helping me out in some of my most recent builds. He's a great hand to have in the shop and is also starting his own creator journey, making knives, restoring old trucks, and some more exciting things. Be sure to check out his Instagram, linked below in the description. After some light sanding, we decided it was best to work on all the roundovers. We just used a 3/16 roundover bit and then did a quick hand sand on all the edges to knock down any rough spots. It's always nice to have an extra hand in the shop. We were kind of on a time crunch as these needed to be done by the 4th of July. In hindsight, we didn't really have to rush to make them as they are still sitting at my house waiting to be sold. Hopefully someone takes interest in them soon so I can get my money back. If not, I guess my parents have some nice chairs to put on the front porch. This is a product that normally doesn't make it into the final cut of the video, but I thought that I'd give them a shout out. This is Gork's Good Filler water-based wood filler. This is my favorite filler to use on any project. I've used this on so many and always come back to it because of its performance. I was excited to open this Montana brand 53-piece drill and driver set. It had everything we needed and more to assemble these chairs. For fasteners, I'm just using Spax's exterior 2.5 and 3-inch deck screws, as well as some 2-inch lag bolts. The assembly process was a breeze with Spax, as I really didn't have to worry about the pieces splitting with their self-driving screw head technology. It was kind of crazy being able to drive these 2-inch lag bolts straight into the side of the pine and not having it split on me. I used these instead of actually drilling and fastening a nut and bolt, and this saves so much time. It definitely takes some practice assembling these chairs, and it's nice to have an extra hand to hold pieces in place. By the third chair, Lance and I had it down pretty well, and it took no time at all. Luckily, there was a YouTube video to go right alongside the plans, and it took us through step by step and definitely helped us assemble these faster. I'll link that video in the description below. To cut the seat slats this size, you just lay them out, mark them, and cut them at a 6-degree angle, and then fasten them in place. Once those were on, I couldn't help but to test out these chairs, and man, these chairs were nice. For the finish, I am just using Varathane's fast drying wood stain. The three colors I chose were antique white, barnwood red, and navy blue. I think I did about 3 coats each and let them dry, and then went through and sprayed a couple coats of spar urethane on each chair. These chairs turned out great, and if you're interested and live in the Northwest Ohio area, they are most likely still waiting to be sold. I'll let you enjoy the finishing shots, but be sure to check out all the products I mentioned and listed in the description. And let me know if you made it to the end of this video by starting your comment with your favorite wood species.